This is Black Views, bringing you the Black News. Today I was reading an article. Um, it was about immigration. It's from NBC News. Biden is asking for Mexican help to stop the record surge of migrants. Here's what Mexico wants in return. So if you ask me, this when Mexico says this is what they want in return, this sounds like extortion. Like, okay, if you give us this, then we'll do this. And I'm going to read to you this article by Julia Ansley. I'm not going to read all the article, but I'm going to read the parts that I really think that are important to black people, FBA, black Americans. Okay.
Thanks to NBC News for this article. Fair use. The Biden administration is increasingly leaning on Mexico to curb the record flow of migrants crossing into the U.S., but Mexico has its own lists of ambitious asks for the U.S., say officials from both governments familiar with the discussions. Previous measures taken by the Biden administration to stem the migrant surge have led to only temporary dips in the numbers, and in late December, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and Secretary of State Antony Blinken went to Mexico to meet with Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador to ask for greater assistance. Those conversations were preliminary, the officials said, and did not result in hard promises from either side. In a press conference on Friday, López Obrador called on the U.S. to approve a plan that would deploy $20 billion to Latin American and Caribbean countries, suspend the U.S. blockade of Cuba, remove all sanctions against Venezuela and grant at least 10 million Hispanics living in the U.S. the right to remain and work legally. All of those are extremely tall demands of an administration headed into a re-election campaign that may hinge on how firmly Biden is able to get control of the southern U.S. border, which saw a record 300,000 migrants processed by Customs and Border Protection in December. Responding to those requests, a senior Biden administration official told NBC News that AMLO, as López Obrador is commonly called, has a very ambitious agenda. For some of these things, we would need Congress to act. We share the vision that we need to lift up the region. The two countries are expected to continue talks in Washington later this month. Mexico brings significant leverage to the negotiations, the U.S. and Mexican officials said. López Obrador's administration would prefer that President Joe Biden win re-election in November, given Donald Trump's rhetoric and actions during his time in office. But Biden is quickly running out of options to fix a problem that is driving down his poll numbers without increased support from Mexico, 3 U.S. officials told NBC News. On Capitol Hill, negotiations over border security measures between Republicans and Democrats continue into their second month with no clear breakthrough. And new asylum policies introduced by the Biden administration in May failed to deter migrants, as evidenced by the record surge. To bring the numbers down, the Biden administration needs Mexico to let it push more non-Mexican immigrants back across the U.S. southern border, as the U.S. was able to do through early 2023.
I want to say thank you to my AI friend Eric for reading that fine report. Now, okay, so now, did you hear? It says that Lopez is asking for 20 billion to Latin American and Caribbean countries. Suspend the U.S. blockade of Cuba, which I don't have a problem with. Remove all sanctions against Venezuela. And grant at least 10 million Hispanics living in the U.S. the right to work. Okay, I can understand Lopez looking out for his country. I get it. But here we go. I mean, to me, I just think it's unbelievable. Your man can ask for 20 billion. And then he goes on to say that he really doesn't care for Trump because of his rhetoric. And he wants Biden. Obviously, he wants Biden to be in office, and he's looking for Biden to win this election coming up. But here's the problem. You have all these FBA African Americans who basically we're looking to have reparations, and you think for a minute that it's cool to give Mexico 20 billion and Latin America and all the Caribbean countries with their problems, own sovereign countries with their problems, $20 billion, and we can use 20 billion right here. You know what? We only have 50 states. Can you just imagine? You split out some of that, all that 20 billion to 50 states, you can solve problems. This is reparation money coming through our tax dollars, $20 billion. We already got several billion going up to Ukraine. You already have several billion going over to Israel. Now, Mexico's asking for 20 billion. Cut the check, bro. I'm so tired of hearing this. I am so tired of all the supporters of the bullshit that keeps going on to say that we are going to give 20 billion to Mexico. And then when you look at the people that went down there, okay, who's this one guy? Alejandro Mayorkas. Okay, I don't know who Alejandro is, but it already sounds like a conflict of interest for him to go down there, you know what I'm saying, and want to work things out with Mexico and their people. These are the same people that's putting a blockade on Cuba, but you talking to Mexico, and then at the end, of the report, you hear them say they want to push non-Mexican immigrants back. So that just means basically you want to push all the Negroes back. You want to pull all the Africans and Negroes need to be pushed back across that border. So it's the same thing again. It only makes sense. You saw the Haitians show that when the Haitians showed up at the border, what they had whips and horses for them. Or they went out. They went out in true Western fashion against those Haitians. Now we have Venezuela, and they want to grant at least 10 million Hispanics living in the U.S. the right to remain and work legally. So that's basically what all the immigrants that's here. We want you to leave them there. We want, and then we want 20 billion for all the Central America. Notice it say Latin American. All the Central America. He never said anything about Jamaica. He never said anything. He never said anything about where the black people are in that particular area. It's just for all the Hispanics. Man, I'm so tired of this, man. I'm so tired of this. What we're doing basically is we're giving money away to foreigners. And that's just what it is. Illegal foreigners, bro. I mean, you're giving money away to foreigners. You're allowing the foreigners to come over the borders. And see, once you start this, then FBA, we start thinking to ourselves, hey, wait a minute. We already know this is a replacement thing, right? You want these Latinos to come over and basically just be the new white people that's here. Okay, because that's where they're going to fall in. They want to be the new minorities in America. And slowly but surely, we will just wither away. And the most disturbing thing about all this is there is no black congressman or congresswoman to have anything to say about this. It's only the black media. FBA black media at that. Only the black media that looks at this and weighs the information and that's able to interpret it to our people in such a way. And then it goes on, they say these are extremely tall demands of an administration headed into a re-election campaign. Well, honestly, I'm going to say if you black, you shouldn't be voting for Biden. And I'm going to tell you why. Because he doesn't have anything in place for you. All he has is rhetoric. Just like they say Trump got rhetoric, all he has is rhetoric. He has tough talk. He tell you when you ain't black if you don't vote for him, but he don't do nothing for you. Okay? And the only way that you should be able to vote as a black person, or you should vote as a black person, is if there's something that's in it for us. If there's nothing in it for us, you're wasting your time. What bothers me, these reports and all this information goes out, and there's not one black congressperson to say, hey, this is crazy. What's going on out here? There's no one here for us. So you guys can look further into this. I sit here and I look at this every day, and it just seems like more and more, things are just going right over our heads. So we just need to focus on us. And we need to stop worrying about other people or other groups and what they have going on because they obviously see they don't care about us. And once they get here, watch how they're going to treat you, how they treat black folks in their own countries. They're going to look at you and with the same look that they look when they look at them brothers and sisters that's over there in their countries, those Negroes over there. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. But this is a short report about the bullshit that Biden got going on. Once again, the Mexican president is asking for 20 billion to Latin America and Caribbean countries. Suspend the US blockade of Cuba. Remove all sanctions against Venezuela and grant at least 10 million Hispanics living in the US the right to remain and work legally. And this is all about color, cause they ain't. Cause trust me, there ain't gonna be no black Hispanics that's gonna benefit from this. Okay, it's not gonna be no Cubanos, black Cubanos that's gonna benefit from this. It's gonna be the same people over and over. And out of that 20 billion, a third is that is gonna get to where it's supposed to go. This is Black Views, bringing you the black news. Have a good day and love your family, man.